The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.net.
Welcome to Beyond the Headlines with hosts MJ, H Train, and Terry. Each week we put today's news into perspective. Join us on Facebook, X, YouTube, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, or anywhere you get your podcast. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
And we're here.
Welcome.
What a trio. Look at this trio.
Woo-hoo.
It's been a while since we've all been together, at least a
I'm
couple
telling
times.
you. Look at Joel grew hair.
He did.
I grew a stash.
Yeah. MJ came on. She's like, "Hey, I don't have a shirt." I'm like, "Go naked. They'll bring up ratings."
Oh, Joel, you're funny. I used to live in Vegas, and I was not looking like this then. I can't tell you because what goes on in Vegas
Stays in Vegas.
amen. So
Except what is it? STD or chloroform or whatever he says. That shit will follow you everywhere. In that Hangover, that movie. You know what I'm talking about?
like the drip.
Yeah, the drip. The drip.
Yes. Why do you think they have buffets? All you can eat crabs. No, I'm kidding. Woo!
Hey,
MJ.
Hey, if you're having a bad day, just remember, crabs, they pee out of their eyeballs in the front of their face.
They do.
Now you know.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Hey, where's the time gone? We're halfway through August or something already.
Oh, I
It's
know.
crazy.
Right?
It's flying now.
Time goes by fast when you're not in jail.
Yes, and I want those journeys around the sun to go forever, especially on this beautiful day, the 18th of August. Wow, that's an 818. Hey, I have to look that up for you. That's a beautiful angel number. And but it is Joel and Cassie, Joel, Mr.
Yep.
H-Train, and his beautiful wife Cassie's beautiful anniversary today. How she's done it, I have no idea. But I did hear a story that Cassie told H that a couple of years ago, she bought him a gift for their anniversary. He never used it. So she says, "I am never buying you another gift, H-Train." And he goes, "I don't understand." He goes, "What did I do?" She goes, "Well, you never used it." And he's like, "Okay, but it's a grave plot." Cassie's like, "What can I tell you? I would have bought the stone to it."
That's a really good idea though, because for a wedding anniversary, if you don't know this already, men, for a wedding anniversary, you don't buy them a vacuum sweeper, you don't buy them a dishwasher, you don't buy them any of that shit. But they never said anything about a grave. You need a grave sooner or later. And that's an interesting take. I like that. And graves are so expensive. They really
are
are,
expensive.
And hey, look.
Oh, it was supposed to be funny, man.
Oh. well, just wait, everybody.
Cassie, I'm so sorry. I broke your husband. He's completely demolished.
Oh, man.
So what has been going on with you, Trace? You're like all over the place. You're at the VFWs, then you're getting weddings, and you're like do you have like one of those jets, like those G350 jets?
No, but that'd be cool.
You're just all over the place.
That's what we need to do as a station. All of us, We just need to pitch in and buy it like a jet, so that we can fly. And I mean, that's a really good idea,
Another brainiac idea from
Yeah. We need
Well,
to get a sugar mama. That's what we
I
need
think
to do.
his like week or 2 weeks out of the radio. He's coming back on fire. Look out, Morningwood Show.
well, you can join like a flying club where they share a plane, and then you just have to have pilots, and then you just take out the plane for as many hours or days or whatever that you want. So there's like a pool of planes, and you decide which one you take, a Cessna something or other, and then you get to pilot it. And so we need a pilot. So who's going to go to pilot?
Oh, I can pilot. I've played PlayStation before.
We got air boys, baby. I
Oh,
can't help
That's
you other
true.
people,
That's
but us
true.
air boys and girls, we got some flyers.
Well, we might have some helicopter flyers too in here somewhere. There's got to
see
be
what I'm saying?
someplace. Yeah.
We're not just jumping off planes. We actually are driving it for you to jump off.
Hey, I will say, before we get started, we have a brand new show that is coming to the MBR Airways. It's going to be, we're actually going to be opening for them, but starting September 1st, it's fast speed ahead, the after actions of battle, new veteran that I believe he's a Navy veteran. Just started with Military Broadcast Radio, Josh McCabe. So we want to welcome him. And, it seems like every time a show leaves, because Check a Vet, they're leaving because they have a new radio gig that they just got caught on. It seems like every time a show leaves, a new show comes on. So make sure you continually watch MBR's Roku channel for updates, stuff like that. If you're a football fan, check with the sports team. They just sent the email out. MBR has a fantasy football league, and the winner, when we go on commercial and we come back, I'll show you because I forgot in the other room. But the winner gets LeVarby Trophy and a ring. Literally, it is a NFL LeVarby Trophy and a ring. It's pretty cool. Comes with a nice little jewelry box and everything, Just something else you can use as a shit drawer. Jose, how are you, brother? Jose, he is Motivation Mindset. He is on every Saturday, right?
Yep. I think it's at 5 Eastern. Let's see. It is at 5 p.m. Eastern.
5 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you
are a friend of mine.
Yeah, make sure you tune in there.
With a little salt and lime. Oh, that's not the right guy, is it?
I'm still dancing to it. I'm still dancing to it.
Oh, he's very energetic. That guy, I always say he's like the Energized Bunny. You just wind him up and away he goes. Go, go,
Yep.
go.
Woohoo! MJ, what is your headline that you got for us? You should go first because I already know what Terry's is, and you guys already know what mine is. And it's probably good that we're doing mine at the end of it because, you should have. It was fire and brimstone here earlier, everybody.
Sparks were flying before the show.
Oh my gosh.
I think there's still embers sizzling somewhere in the back.
Oh my God.
I'm sure the back of my head was so hot it caught on fire and there's like nothing there anymore. I might have to borrow the dew there, Joel, to cover that spot. So the headline I'm bringing, it's not just one headline. It's multiple headlines. Okay. And what I want to make an awareness, and I know that's not right. It's an awareness. Before I do that, except the next 2 Saturdays going to San Francisco to the Veterans Sports Center. Well, you slacker.
You think you are? You didn't ask permission. We should leave.
He asked me if he could. I said yes.
Oh, okay.
See what happens when you're just laying there doing nothing, Joel? Okay, so the awareness I have
Shit just
is
goes
there is
wrong.
an awful lot of back talking where I'm noticing through C-SPAN where you can look at the Senate floor hearings and they're comparing what has been redacted or declassified in comparison to the amount of a nicer way to put it is ego's truth in their dimension, and it doesn't match. Nothing that was accomplished didn't match. So you have criminalized and put in jail innocent freaking people. You've raided homes because of neglect and because of your own self-centered and abundance of wealth and your own egotistical reasons why you created such falsified. And it's not just, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's the Obama, or oh, it is not. This type of corruption goes all the way back. I keep saying, even Soros was in the 80s on our heightened awareness list of terrorists, right? How did he infiltrate from that to now being a part of the Democratic Party feeding and mushing money? Well, because without the USAID, which is all these forms, they're all leading back to where they go back into paying Soros. And then Soros comes back and pays out the rioters. And this, if you guys are actually following along to the Doge still, or you're following along in congressional reports, you can read these things. However, if you open up social medias or any type of medias, it is the hypocrisy of somebody damning the administration right now about the transparency. However, the majority of the vote went to transparency. So I find it with split tongue. I find it with a lot of unhealed Americans, and I'm going to just say that because your anger is your poison within you, not within the majority. So if you're angry about something, I always tell everybody that is a seed within you. First of all, you left that energy, and then you have to step back going, and how does it affect you? Now, if you are robbing the American people of their taxes and that monies have been, if you're collecting some dead Aunt Mary's Social Security check and she's been dead for 20 years and you still have it, that's on you, partner, right? Like, these are laws. Every country has laws. And I have visited numerous countries when I was opening up and doing business development for fishing and hunting industry in Central, South America, Africa, and Australia. I have to tell you, their laws about letting Americans in are pathetic. So for any of these other countries who are trying to say, well, immigrants can come in. I mean, come on. I hear this all the time, especially in my spiritual world. There is a lot of people in my spiritual world who are saying that they're unkind and how we're unhuman and how it's I go, but they don't do the same.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
In a damn jail because my passport name did not match my marriage certificate.
And you're exactly right with that, because when I was in the military, I had dated a woman that was in Australia, and to get a visa, to get a work visa, to get just to visit Australia, it's a pain in the ass.
It is. Brazil
it is. It really is.
You
know, and with the United States, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. You want to talk about getting a visa on the United States? You sign up for one while you're on a damn airport, on the airplane. That's a little visa. What do you, what's the word that they use?
You're either visiting or you are working abroad. And if you're working abroad, then you have to have your stamps. My ex-husband was Trinidad. It took me about a year and change, even though we were married and I had a child. It took him a year and change just to get his citizenship. It wasn't direct. We had to pay. And sadly, what he did is he was up here with orchids. And so he was really a bad way. And they, for 3 years, was paying the lawyers, paying the state, paying everybody for his work visa, just to do what he was doing in the orchid business, because he was the only, at that time, he was the only tissue culturing person. And he learned it in Switzerland. So his aunt and uncle brought him into Miami. But yet 3 years that they were paying and paying and paying. And then, of course, I got married and that work visa went straight out, because at the time, that was what, 1992, 91, 92. So that all played, an important part of how that dynamic has changed.
And I'm sure, since you said that was 92, 93, you're not sure what year it is. I'm sure stuff really changed after 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it did too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure of it. I mean,
but with the thing of Australia, like that was like right after, like I hadn't even deployed to Iraq. It was right before I deployed to Iraq. You can't change the visa status, that shit, like that fast, for like Australia and all the other places. I mean, now you can, but back then we wasn't even receiving text messages on phones. Okay. No. Back then we were just learning email. I mean, we were faxing. If you're faxing today, you're from World War II. I mean, put your hand down, Terry. They don't need to know that.
Gods, Joel.
There's some things we have to fax.
I think, Terry, you and I will come off the screen off of that comment, and he can have his high IT, AI, chatty, jatty, Siri, whatever.
But, no, it's just things have changed, but, the thing, and we can go on break after I say this, but I think that it really irks me when other countries sit there and they gripe or they complain about our political system, but yet their shit isn't any better. It's like, why are you going to sit there? I don't even know the German prime minister unless they keep on. The only reason why I know this the Zelensky or Salami, whatever his name is, or Putin, the only reason why I know their name is because they're constantly in the news. Nobody knew about January 6th until that riot shit starts. Now everybody's covering on January 6th like it's a Super Bowl because, something happened and now we got to cover it on the news. Half the people didn't even know where Ukraine was until the war started. That's what I mean. People just put a lot of effort into our political system and they bag us, but their backyard's messed up too.
Yeah, it's drama. Everybody has to have an opinion. That's why I said there's a majority of the world who is extremely unhealthy. And when I say that, it is because you are geared, and you have free will, but you are geared to opinion, and your opinion is ego and judgment based on man's conditioned patterns. So when you talk about being fair and balanced, it's not being fair and balanced with egoic stances of anger or hatred or disappointment or misunderstandings. It is a balance that you can understand where their level of thinking is and compared to ours, and they meet in the middle. And I hope and I pray that I don't hope shit. I pray and I have faith that when Arrow the Dust settles, it's an awareness, and it already is, because there's a lot of people being removed from their jobs who were in there. There's a lot of people now who have their jobs who are honoring the fact of things are turning around. But when you get yourself in a $36 trillion deficit and on the verge of the country going bankrupt, that's a hard one to pull out of. That's a real hard one to pull out of. And as a business person myself, as a business major, I give the kudos to President Trump. I give him kudos because most people at that predicament on the cliff, they would have just been exhausted already and just say, let's just start anew. And he's not against business bankruptcy, obviously, which is why people feared him. But he pulled it out with his art of the deal, and I believe in that. I don't believe in some of the things that he does, and that's just me. And that's like everybody else. You have your opinions, and that's fine. And you have free will to voice them, or you have free will to try to join the society. But when you pick things to death, and that's what they're doing. That's right now what the opposition is doing. They are picking everything, including what he wears, or when he plays golf, or when he does something. It's a nitpick. Mm-hmm. And the Republicans did the same shit. They nitpicked Obama to death. I'm not even going to talk about Biden, because we all know that Sleepy Joe had the auto pen and somebody else is running this country, or a multitude of people running the country. And we know this. But we have to, as to be unified, to be unity, and to unify everybody. Please try your best. Even if you can't even understand it, process what somebody else is telling you. It doesn't have to be politics, it can be anything. Process what their truth is. Process it and try to understand the radios that they're coming at you, because that's the only way to hold your neighbor's hand. Right. Is to make a balance, to make an alignment, to understand that radio. Not that you believe in it, but you can understand why they think that way. It's kind of like somebody saying, after having a child, I can understand the mothers in the first 6 weeks killing their babies. Do I condone it? Absolutely not. But I can understand it after I live through it. I can understand the psychosis of the hormone level and where they are at mentally. So does that make sense? Anyway.
It does, but we got to go on break. All
right. So let's hear Rob Bess, Rebirth. Here we go.
All right.
The station.
Oh. It just started and stopped.
There we go.
That works.
I gotta figure out that. So that's my bad. Trace. Yeah, that's my bad.
Fine. What happened here?
All right, now. Oh, and MJ, thank you for sharing the headline. I learned a little bit. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
I learned a little bit.
Wasn't really a headline. It was a concentration. All right.
Well,
You bring up one.
Well,
Let me hold on first. Wait, hold on. Okay.
You don't have to hold on. You don't have to hold on to your false teeth yet. Terry goes, I'll be doing mine. But I had somebody told me that they watched this show, and the thing that they liked about this show is, we told how it was. We wasn't Republican, we wasn't liberal, we wasn't Democrat. Like I'll bag on both of the sides. Just like last week, I was telling Trace, I'm like, I'm glad President Trump's getting all of the stuff done that he's done. Okay. But I'm tired of hearing the bragging and this other stuff.
The narcissism.
When we don't give a shit, dude. We don't care how many people voted for you. Okay. You made the promise to release this list. You're the one that opened your mouth up. You look, if I'm a TBI guy, okay, and I go into the Brass Pro Shop and I ask somebody, hey, can I look at this weapon, and I grab this weapon and I act like, get down on the floor, like they would kick me out. They would get upset with me, okay, because I'm like, dialogue practicing, all right. So
in the gun shop.
Exactly. Well, there's somebody that's real happy about me. But he needs to quit bragging about, because all that shit it's Al Bundy. Okay, look, you did 4 touchdowns back in high school. That's great. Now this is this week. You need to fix this. You need to fix that. And I'm going to get into my as the White House turns, my little thing that I have about it. But I just wanted to let you know that I've had several people tell me that they like watching this show just because, we sit there and we bag both sides and we kind of explain how everything is going. This is the way we talk here. This is how you talk politics. You have to be careful who you talk to in the civilian world of politics, because there are some people that it does not matter if the sky is blue. If they believe it's purple, shut up, it's purple. There's just some people that just they will not change their mind.
So but that's a lot of, okay, Terry, you go, because I already talked so much. You go, Terry. You go. Because I'm gonna flip what he said a couple of things, but I want to hear you too in case I want to flip something.
Well, really, I just, I didn't know if everybody really knew what the one big beautiful bill had in it, because I didn't. So what I really wanted to do is just talk about the things that are in it that people may or may not have known were included as part of the bill.
No, wait, do you have something to rebut for his comment?
No, because it's true. If you want to talk politics amongst people, you have to be willing to hear the other side. You can't just take your own framework and say, okay, well, if your framework doesn't fit my framework, we don't get along and we can't agree and I can't listen to you. Right. And I won't.
Right.
So I agree that you have to be in Switzerland, you have to be in the middle, and you have to be willing to hear other people's perspective, even if you don't necessarily agree with it, but you hear it to learn something, because really every conversation you should learn something. And if you're not learning something, you're doing something wrong.
Okay. So in some of what Joel was saying, I agree. His narcissistic tendencies is a bit overwhelming. So there's a lot of people out there who just like, I hired you to do the job, right? Think of yourself as the boss. I hired you to do the job. That doesn't mean you sit here on your phones and you talk smack and you gossip and you cause chaos for the country, right? Think about your own job. Now, be the boss, which the American people really are the boss. If you rallied enough, you can get an overturnment. right? That's just how the Constitution is.
Okay.
However, I find his repetitiveness is a very old-fashioned form of subliminal messaging that he counters. And it's a very old way practice in business. And it's subliminal formations. It's almost like when you used to go to the movie theaters in the 70s and 80s, they would subliminally put popcorn and peanuts or drinks. So in the middle of your movie, and you wouldn't even see them because they would take it and they would put it in one of the blips of a screen. But your mind, as quick as it is, sees it. But your consciousness doesn't see it. So that means you're not thirsty, but you're subliminally hearing, okay, well, every time I go, now you have the smell of the popcorn, right? And then you have these subliminals. They made them take the subliminals out. It's a very old way. Can we possibly understand with him he's what, 84?
I'm not sure.
I'll play your game. Sure. I don't even know when I was married. My wife has to remind me how many years.
You have a back computer. So you look that up. So what I'm trying to say is he has been in that era or that time frame. It's the same as my mom, right? These baby boomers, they have this uncanniness to repeat, this uncanniness to constantly subliminalize that oppression, what he's trying to get through. And he does it in a way, but because he has narcissistic tendencies, in a lot of people's eyes, he overdoes that repetition of old subliminal patterning. Does that make sense?
It does. It
to
does.
try to put it in perspective.
So if I put it in perspective, and I'm sending you how old he is and stuff. So if I'm putting it in perspective, what you're saying is, like in an office, oh man, did you taste that coffee? I mean, did you taste the cream of that coffee? It just rises up the grounds and stuff. I mean, I made a beautiful big pot of coffee last Monday, and did you not get that? Well, I have to send you the recipe, I mean, that's what you're saying. That now, doesn't that sound like?
But you wouldn't do it because that's not a habitual pattern of man in this era. Do you understand? We have to, this is why these old belief systems and these old patterns, we try to flip them. But chaos renders when so much, and it's so funny because she played the last Rob Fess, right? And that was all about the Phoenix Rising. That was all rebirthing, right? It's a renewal. It's coming through. So if this is our last elderly person for presidency, maybe the next one's coming in so that it can maintain order, right? Because law and order was not maintained. And so then chaos erupts, and chaos is the immigrants, chaos is the fentanyl, chaos is the borders, chaos is depletion of money. All these things are happening because there is no law and order, right? Even the Bible talks about order. You have to have order. It's even one of your mind power centers. It's order. So you have to have this order in order to justify. And yes, you're going to have people who don't like it, right? It's not going to fit everybody's pattern. It's not going to fit everybody's soul. But for those people who it doesn't fit, then I guess the only words I have is, I'm sorry, let's build them up and raise them for whatever they need now and let them be a phoenix, because in a troop, I mean, come on, you were in the war. You have 12 soldiers, right? Mm-hmm. It is leave no man, what?
Leave no man behind.
There it is. We leave no man behind, even though maybe because the explosion cut us off from we still know they're there. We're still not going to desert them, but we need to save us first in order to save them. Does that make sense?
But we also have the saying, don't talk it, walk it. We also have that saying too, right. And when it comes to Trump, I hear a lot of talk. Okay. I hear a lot of bragging. I hear a lot of, tariffs. Okay. That's nice. I don't feel the effects of it. I just filled my gas tank. Mr. Trump, it's $3. And the Dallas Cowboys aren't even in the playoffs. All right. So it's not like I'm worried about the like the year or so. I'm just saying that I'm kind of tired of being told how to feel and what how everything's going great, but I'm not feeling the reflection of it. I'm not feeling the reflection. I mean, I don't know about you. Do you feel extra money in your wallet? Because I don't feel any extra money in my wallet. I hear it. How long have we been hearing about the tariffs refund, or like the tariffs refund, economic refund, all this money we're gonna send the tax income. We're gonna send $600 per person. Okay, I'm still waiting for that. I haven't got that. That's all I'm saying. I understand.
I don't know if that was he suggested it, but he can't do any. Listen, if everybody thinks that the president has total power, he could ask for something, and underneath them, just like the bill that Terry wants to talk about.
Yeah.
They added to what he said. So he's going to take the blame because all these other senators and then all these other congressmen put their shit in it for them to say, listen, I want this, and then I'll sign it. So there's stuff in that big, beautiful bill that has nothing to do with Trump. But
why doesn't he say that?
Trump's going to get the blunt of it. Why? Because you had to balance. You had to give and take. And he is the ultimate. So when they have the bill and it comes back to him and he looks at what they changed, yes, he has every right to have a game plan of how to either neutralize that he doesn't want it, and he didn't think the American people would want it. But then
why doesn't he explain that, though? Why does he not explain that? Because
that is his defense against his enemies. And right now, the Democrats are truly fighting. It's almost like terrorism inside this domestic terrorism. These beautiful people who are so against him will just, there's things that he has done right now with EO orders that they have been begging for years to happen. And he does it. And now he's no good because he did it. But this is the platforms that they were on for how many years? So where's the justice? Where's the equilibrium? So a person, I tell you what, that man has been shot at twice. If I've been shot at twice and I'm not taking a paycheck and I'm here for you, buddy, I'm gonna have some words.
I'm just saying,
my ego, right? My human side ego.
Right. I'm just saying that they talked about transparency. When stuff like this happens, like you're explaining it to me, okay? Right. Chase will explain it to me, but why isn't the president explaining that to everybody? Why is it up to citizens for us to explain what he's doing? That's what I'm saying. Saying.
They have a secretary, Caroline Levitt.
Yeah, and she's not really expressing it. That's the only thing that I'm saying.
Okay, so I am not quite sure, because I find that young, beautiful lady does.
She's very good at her job. She's very good.
No, I'm saying she speaks what she is told to speak, and she defends the Constitution of the United States very well. Right. She knows it very well. Right. So I'm not sure why people believe that it's not being expressed or transparent, because every single website, the congressional library is there, the Supreme Court library is there, the whitehouse.org library is there, even Doge library is there. So all of these because maybe we as citizens don't have time to go through these libraries, we want to call it out by saying we don't know. But everything that is made in the media is made to public online as well, that you can take your own interpretation out. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Right. No, and that's what's the problem with the news here lately, is the news picks an agenda. They state their opinion, and they don't state the news. They don't state the facts. That's one of that's why I believe there's so much ethnicity. But we're talking up a storm, and Tracer, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take away from your time to talk about what you wanted to on the big beautiful bill.
No, we need to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll do As the White House Turns.
Okay.
So here we go. So we're doing Beautiful Morning, Rob Fess.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right, and we are back. And before I play this, I wanted to let everybody know. I love you, MJ. I just saw the comment that you wrote inside the thing. But ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. It's everybody's favorite segment. As the White House turns.
President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, looks good.
I said the one that attacked you last time. See, now I remember that.
Yeah, I apologize to you. You look wonderful. No, my first question for you, President Zelensky.
And in the same suit. You see, I changed you.
Maybe yours is much better. President Zelensky.
All right, so. You know, and it's very funny that I was getting ready to like rip, like I was talking off air with MJ and Tracer before the show. I was getting ready to rip, but this breaking news just came in, so I can't rip him too much now. I gotta give him props. This just in from Fox News 1 hour ago. President Trump says that he has called President Putin after the meeting with the European leaders and with Zelensky, or whatever his name is. I can't pronounce it, doesn't matter. At the conclusion of the meetings, they have began talking about meeting at a location to be determined between President Putin and President Zelensky very, very soon on a peace deal. So, I take back what I said earlier, because I honestly I felt like it was a dog and pony show. I mean, good on Zelensky, ripping the guy. Hey, you're wearing the same damn suit as last time, At least I changed clothes, kind of thing. So, I mean, I don't give two shits if they wear a suit, because people from what did the guy call it? When they're from Saudi Arabia or these other countries, they don't wear a suit. They wear a Jedi Master suit, So I don't know why they're sitting here getting all upset.
They're called saris.
Okay.
That wardrobe is called a sari.
Sorry. Okay.
Just like this topic. No, I'm only kidding.
Ouch.
Oh my God.
Ouch.
Sorry.
But all I know is there's been a lot of press and a lot of effort with this war, and I feel like it's been a dog and pony show, because it's almost like he's trying to reach that Nobel Peace Prize that they keep talking about. Like, hey,
trying to do that. He's not because of the prize. Maybe he is in his own egoic fashion, and who can blame him? You have goals, you set your goals, and that's what it is. But he's already solved 5 different issues, and as we talked about Joel before this, he is a very, very smart business person. And sometimes I think our politics needs business, because what he did is he sold them our fuels. So if you read what he has done to these peace treaties, and what benefits us for him to get his nose involved, is instead of buying supplies from Russia, they're cutting that off. Well, if you get enough countries to cut that kind of supply off, especially how many, and he decides to figure out peace for all these countries, and in the long run, he's giving the Americans the business with the monies and lesser tariffs, and then he's cutting Russia off. That is a commander-in-chief on the military side, and that is a good politician, business person on the other side. Thinking about the American people, bringing the money back into the United States with the tariffs, and shutting down the main factor of the war. We all know Ukraine lost that war, hands down, right? Hands down. We know.
It just depends on who you talk to,
Oh, please.
One week it's Russia, 1 week it's Ukraine.
No, without the United, with Biden's crew out of the way.
That's true. That is very true. Without the money, he ain't winning shit.
And I'm sorry, that was my money too, and yours, and everybody else out there listening. It was your money who supplied that war. And if you don't believe in taking your part of that war and saying, we're banishing this, it's over, take your part. Because it was your money that your elected official gave Ukraine in order for them to think about giving us uranium. And it started back with the Clintons. And that's pretty sad. If you want to trace that evidence, that is the evidence that they're trying to trace. That's the other evidence that people don't want them. They're just like, can we just leave all that alone? Why are you going back? Because you have to find truth. Truth gives balance and alignments and awareness. If you don't know the truth and you only think you're hearing the truth and you're not seeing the truth, then are you really being truthful? Truth sometimes will solve all the issues. It doesn't, but there's so much anger and resentment because of media. And that means social media, people's egoic media, and that means publicized TV medias and all the country's media. So they got paid off to convince subliminally that Trump was evil. So now everybody has a hatred for him. Everybody has a hiccup. I cannot justify the actions of somebody's hatred. I can't. You can just like that energy and step away, but not a hatred. And then if you don't understand anything about wartime or military, then you need to step back from these. Why is there war? And what is it about? And what's happening? Yes, we're just Putins, right? That's all we are. We're soldiers giving a command, and we're Putins. But if you love your country, you're going to stand for it. Trust me, when Ukraine's calling 60-year-old people to fight that war, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. They have to stop that war. So some way, somehow, and you watch, Trump's going to make it. He's going to figure this out. He's a smart guy. And he already talked to Putin, and he already talked to Zelensky now. And now all of Europe is backing, the UE is backing Trump with what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
So with respect, with grace and humility, and with all respect, everybody needs to take a really big, deep breath in whatever that hatred angle in that body is and step back a minute. You're not on the front line. This is not, it's not affecting you in day-to-day life. And yes, my gas, when I first came here, it was $3.98 in October. My gas now is $3.04. So I do see that, especially since I have 55 acres and a gas of tractors I have to run. I see that savings, right? I also see the savings of buying 18 eggs, not at $10. I'm buying them at $4. Yes, I'm seeing that. I understand there's people out there, and I understand it's not coming down for our selfness, for our righteousness, and for our ego's terms, right?
It's not coming down for everybody. Sooner or later, it trickles down. I understand what you're saying. I understand. I understand that stuff doesn't happen overnight.
No,
I do understand that.
We are built like Kerplunk. Do you remember the game Kerplunk? Maybe Terri. Okay, good.
Yes, I do.
So Kerplunk, you're really good by pulling a stick and not those marbles. But you're going to pull the straw that broke the camel's back, or you're going to pull that Kerplunk stick.
Right.
It's all going to tumble down. And so I think people have been holding on for 4 years and now 5 years. And they're like, I can't do this anymore. And they're they're aggressive. Why? Because now they have fear. Now they're scared. Now they are at wit's ends where they don't know a money source, right? And they don't want to give up, but it's beating them. And so this is where the human life, who they're not seeing a rapid turnaround happen. But that's not President Trump. I hate that President Trump is arguing to your IRS people and to Powell, who wants to not take the interest rates down. The market's already doing it. But Powell, for interest rates on the house loans, he refuses to come down because he doesn't see how the tariffs is working. And Trump's been trying to prove it's not just about the tariffs. It's about the art of the deal that he does. It's about everything else besides those tariffs. But with those tariffs, it's cheaper in the long run. I don't care what everybody says. He played the tariff game and he played it well. And I watched it as a business person, and I watched it in the trade markets, how they're actually reacting to it. And the reason people can't believe it is because they were told not to believe it for so long. And it's happening. But it is now, time is patience. We're only in this 6 months, 8 months, sorry. Whatever it is, right?
Well, hopefully I'm not griping about this in the next 6 months. All I'm saying is,
no, I want you to. Gosh, I want you to.
Well, I mean, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
No, but
you made a perfect comment. You made a perfect comment, MJ, because I'll tell you, when somebody commits suicide, or somebody kills somebody, or somebody does something bad, all right, there's three things that are being taken away from that person. And this is what people don't understand. Either their money's being taken away, their love's been taken away, or they have nowhere to go. If you take away those three things, what the hell do I have to live for?
That's called self-love. And if you don't have self-love, and all this material and all these other things that we are doing, and that was a hard lesson for me to learn. Dropping 5 businesses in Miami to come up here, that was about self-love. I had to love who I am. I can't live high off the hog.
And a lot of people don't have that, MJ.
Honey, what I'm saying is it hurts, and I get it. And instead of going in depression, instead of going into sombers, and instead of going into angers, I retreated back into processing. It's okay. Do I really need to have 4 steak dinners in a week? Do I really need to have 4 sushi meals in a week? Why do I have to eat that consistency of that? I'm just picking something. Okay, please don't.
That's okay. It's all right. I'm going to talk about somebody that I know personally. Well, Tricia's met. Well, she hasn't met him, but she knows him kind of personally. I know a soldier that, like, he had Jersey Mike's skydiving. That's the first thing that he has had, other than ramen noodles, for 7 months. Think about that. He had no money coming in. When you get out of jail, if you have like a felony, it's really hard for you to get any kind of job whatsoever. And when you get in jail and you have a felony, doesn't matter what kind of felony it is, you don't get VA compensation while you're in jail. You don't get Social Security while you're in jail. So he had absolutely nothing. Since he's came in the picture, and I've kind of helped him a little bit.
That's a hard lesson.
Yeah,
but he had choices.
Well,
I shouldn't say but. I don't like the word but.
I never said that. I said well.
I said but.
Okay.
All right. You time out, Joe. I said but.
But it's one of those things where people think they have it hard, and then they find out that they didn't have it hard. Now they have it hard,
Yeah.
So when he talked about that, it made me think, how bad do we really have it? How bad do we really have it? Sometimes I think we forget the good things that we have in our life, and we take that for granted. I mean, I have a house. And the thing is like, I've had this house for almost 30 years, but I still don't feel like it's my house. And I think that's the reason I don't feel like it's my house, is because when you're in the military, you never really feel like you have anything. Everything's issued to you. You don't really have anything. You don't have your barracks room that you can get taken care. You can get that taken away. If you don't clean or make your bed, they'll pop a tent out in the back side of the barracks. I've been there for 3 weeks. Living in a tent sucks.
So maybe you personally have fear of abandonment.
Oh, there's no fear. I've been through it. I know.
That's just the word it's called. It's not that but you just said, I don't even feel like this house is mine, because you haven't healed that fear of abandonment. Yep, you lived through it. Yep, and like I said, did you die? No. This is great, but what I'm trying to say is this is where it becomes healing, because that hiccup, right, is a pattern. So imagine the trauma you must have had, that you kept getting things ripped away. You were already ripped away from your family to do a job for the country. You put yourself out there, and then you were ripped away again with all of your personal belongings that maybe as a child you worked hard for, or you had these things. And then you got ripped away just for something insignificant as your bed wasn't made right. So these compile into other things that create that trauma of that event. So you remember it. So now it's, well, if I don't have anything, you can't take it away from me. So I'm flipping that pattern on you. So maybe we have to heal that pattern, because it was compounded with other complications or other things kept upon it, and then we buried it, and now the skeleton has layers and layers and layers of dirt on it, to where now our ego and our judgment mind frame just goes, well, if I have nothing, you can't take it away. So that's why I don't feel like it's mine, because maybe you're going to take it away. So we have to flip that pattern and demand that you are the king of the castle, because when you're the king of your own castle and you're the king of your domain and your sixth sense of space, is when you become an abundant, becoming of self-love, becoming of conditional love, becoming of happiness and joy and all the other positive prosperity. So you have to have a claim, the claim of the I am, but not to distinguish all material rights. right? You can't be attached to them, but we have to be able to relinquish or own by our will. And your will was thwarted, and I'm very sorry for that, because that's a compound issue with people who have PTSD. It's an event that was traumatized, that was magnified into more events that have happened. And that's where we used to go in Miami with our vets, with our PTSD vets, finding out the source of other traumas that are compounding an issue. And what happens in the psychology world is most psychologies will talk about the event and want you to talk about the event because they think they're missing something or you're missing something. And the more you replay is the more that you remember something. So how many times have you gone and repetitively talked about the same thing, right? Because the more you talk about the same thing is the more it's supposed to heal. But if it's a compounding issues of different things around you, and yes, I can see that, Joel, and I'm so happy you brought that up because that's a really valid point for a lot of PTSD vets out there. Just because it was the event of an action that took place does not mean there's other compounding events that you still have trauma from. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And we got to go.
I'm sorry.
So thanks for joining us tonight. And this is Beyond the Headlines signing off.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.